Here is how to comment during the Frankly Speaking show. On your computer, look to the right of the video. That's your live chat hub. Click the Say Something box at the bottom, type your message, and hit enter. Boom, you're live. On the mobile app, it's just as easy. Tap the live chat button right under the video to open the window. Pro tip, if you're in full screen mode, tap the screen once and hit the chat icon to see messages without leaving the action. Can't type? Check two things. Make sure you're signed in and see if subscribers only mode is on. You might need to sub and wait a few minutes. Keep it respectful, follow the mods' rules, and have fun.
Good day. Good day. Frankly speaking, China knows about Jamaica's world power in athletics, of course. But for them to come up right in their own space on the academic excellence of a Jamaican is another thing again. Thank you all for joining us. Good day. Frankly speaking, this podcast, episode 218, is in two parts. We will be speaking with a brilliant Jamaican who has just completed medical school at the top of his class in China. Videos of Dr. Orbin Barnes have been making the rounds. And then we'll speak to a businessman and business coach, Leopold Williams, who insists that more Jamaicans should be going into business. And he says it's easy. You must have noticed that the space in retail, at least, is already being overcrowded by other nationalities. We invite you to send your questions and comments to us during the show by using the procedure outlined at the top of the program or just placing them in the appropriate space on YouTube. We'll respond to as many as we can. Welcome to Winnie Anderson Brown. Desmond is off this week. Before welcoming our guest, let's express our sadness at the death of Stephen Frano Francis, MVP co-founder and coach, who died yesterday, age 64. Mr. Francis was a very accomplished coach, a leading thinker in athletics, and a straight-talking man. Our condolences to his family, friends, and those who benefited from his gift. And then also we regret the loss of Grace McLean, financial advisor and pensions guru, who died after a brief illness recently. More later on, Grace, who was a fan of this program and a contributor. Welcome, Dr. Barnes. This video by Yardman International, making the rounds last week on social media, will help to introduce our guest, Dr. Orbin Barnes. Can you play it now?
Another Jamaican is making the nation proud on the world stage. Dr. Orbin Barnes, originally from Negril, has graduated as the valedictorian of the class of 2026 at Jinzhou Medical University in China. Barnes began studying medicine in 2020 during the pandemic and went on to build an outstanding academic record. He earned 5 first-class scholarships, 1 second-class scholarship, published 2 medical research papers, won a National Undergraduate Research Award in China, and was named the most outstanding performer in his clinical exit examinations. A former Monroe College student, Dr. Barnes says he hopes to return home and serve Jamaica, with plans to specialize in either obstetrics and gynecology or emergency medicine. Here's a moment Jamaicans can be proud of: Dr. Orbin Barnes delivering his valedictory speech as the top graduate of his class in China.
2020年9月1日，我有经理想时，明日我将告别母校，带着飞越重洋，回到我的祖国牙买加。我是2026本科流水毕业生，来自国际教育学院OEM。在经历的时光是掌握临床病理与经历国际医推广创的丰富体验，从社畜翻译的精明写作，到这会议员的创新实践， 感受中国医疗体系的蓬勃脉动。
Well, that was one of the times when you can say I didn't understand the word you were saying. Dr. Barnes, welcome again. Tell us how you ended up in China. And by the way, I'm sorry. By the way, that video was by Yardman International. Yardman International. Yes, Dr. Barnes. Tell us how you ended up in China, first of all.
All right, great. So initially, while I was in high school, I grew my interest in medicine. And at the time when I was applying to several universities, I both would have applied to local universities and several universities abroad. So then later down within that's the year, well, the period when we're supposed to decide when we're supposed to go to, choose a university for tertiary studies, that's when I was more convinced of studying abroad, more specifically in China. And that's where I pretty much decided to join the program here in China.
Oh. And so tell us how you did at Monroe, and how you finished your studies at Monroe. Let's put it that way.
All right, so I would have completed 9 Caribbean secondary examination subjects or courses at the CSEC level. Then I would have done 5 CAPE Units 1 and 4 CAPE Units 2. I recall for the CXC courses, I would have gained 6 grade 1s and 3 2s. And for the units, I got all 1s in the sciences. I got a grade 3 in pure math. That's what I can recall. Whilst I was Monroe, I was very much active in leadership as well. I was the deputy head boy at the time. I was also one of the dorm prefects, and I had the responsibility of being the dorm, we call it the senior dorm prefect, if you get what I'm saying. While at Monroe, I was also in several clubs and activities. So I took part in science club, I took part in math club, modern languages club, and key club. And even during that period when I was in lower sixth form, I would have had the opportunity to engage myself in a leadership conference, which was held in New York City and in Washington, D.C.
No, so you weren't a nerd just sticking to the books all the time, but you did very well, because I spoke with Dr. Smith, Mark Smith, who is the principal now, and he knew you right away when I called the name at Monroe. But tell me now, you decided on going to China, where you knew you would have to start with a language issue. How did you deal with that in your own mind?
Well, for me, I would like to think that I'm pretty much extroverted. So learning a new culture, learning a new language was something I've always wanted to do. And I had the interest of, indulging in these different cultural diversities. So I was pretty much excited to learn this new language and just immerse myself around this new culture, because at the same time, as we are young, you would want to be open-minded to several happenings around you as well. And I feel like studying abroad was an opportunity for me to be able to immerse myself in these different cultural happenings.
So going to that university, were you the only Jamaican going to that university?
Yes, I was the only one at the time. But
Wow.
as of right now, there are Jamaicans, junior Jamaicans, some juniors currently at the university.
So how did you manage that? That's the language issue. Just tell us a little bit about that at the start, for those people who couldn't take it on. How did you manage that?
Yeah, it was actually very challenging at first, because, as you know, I started my studies online. So I was learning a bit of the Mandarin virtually, which was very challenging. And as you know, if you're learning a language, it is best to be able to be in the environment, and that way you're forced to practice and forced to speak it. If I'm learning it in my room, of course, by the time I'm out of my room, I'm speaking patois again, right? So it's like when I came here, I found myself using the translation apps a lot. And I had an advisor who was proficient in both English and Mandarin. So I would be calling him like, can you help me? What's the translation of this, that? So that moment is where I realized that language in particular here is very important to be proficient in. And that's where I try to study hard in the language and try to master it as much so I'm able to commute properly in the environment.
Mm. And was there any time during that when you were doing the language first? Were you doing courses as well in medicine at that time, or you had a period where you just did the language alone?
Yeah, so while we're doing the medical courses, we're actually doing language courses as well, which also makes it triple hard because medical medicine in itself is very hard, and then learning Mandarin is also very hard. So they try to tackle it in a way where they kind of ease it a bit, but still it's very challenging. So it really do requires a lot of independence and a lot of long studying and hard work. So every semester we're doing some form of language courses, because I even recall, like, even in the later semesters we also had to do a course known as medical Chinese, because as you know, we are also doing some clinical rotations at the hospital here in China, and not all the patients are proficient enough to speak effectively with you in English, and so we have to learn the medical terms in Chinese as well, which is very difficult as well.
Oh, I must say, as you say here in China, I must say to our viewers that you are in China and in the city of Jingzhou. I think you pronounce it. How do you pronounce it?
Jinzhou.
But you are nearer to Peking, Beijing at the moment.
Yes,
All
Beijing.
right, and it's just around 5 o'clock Monday morning where you are. So
Yes.
in these early days of your studies,
Mhm.
how did you feel at any time like you really wanted to quit, or you possibly made the wrong choice? Did you feel that way at all?
Well, I would. Well, during the period of coronavirus, there were times where I was kind of demotivated, and I felt like that period of time was pretty much universal to everyone who was learning virtually at the time. So I tried to push through, even though I wasn't feeling motivated at the time. So I would find things that will push me in terms of. I recall during that time when restrictions were much more lighter in Jamaica, but however there were still restrictions in Jamaica. So in China, so I would find myself like visiting local hospitals. I was going to Black River Hospital to do some voluntary time, or I would go to Savalomar Public Hospital where I would also do some rotations. And that's what reminded me of my purpose and the reason why I have even chose medicine. So that's what kept me going the time.
Choose medicine.
I'm sorry?
Why did you choose medicine?
So that's also an interesting question because growing up I wasn't interested in medicine at the time, but when I started high school I knew I liked calculations. I loved the math. I loved figuring out stuff. So I would be finding myself leaning towards the engineering aspect of things. So it's when I approached around in the later years of fifth form and early lower sixth form, I found myself more interested in the human anatomy and just basically the whole pathophysiology behind certain diseases. And so I decided that I would want to do medicine because that I feel like that was something I realized I was interested in. And furthermore, I came across a video a long time ago on YouTube depicting on how the work environment is like as a doctor, and I was like, I saw myself doing something like this, so that's why I chose medicine.
Okay, beautiful. So now we learned that you had 5 first-class scholarships. Explain that to us, and how explain that, please.
All right, so once you join the program here in China,
Another Jamaican is making
you are based on the your academic performance for every year or every academic year. It is taken into account, and what they'll do, the university may offer you a scholarship, a first class or second class or third class scholarship, I believe, based on your academic performance. So for the 5 years I've been here studied, I've garnered the 5 first class scholarship, meaning I would have taught my batch for the 5 years consecutively.
Wow, wow. Fascinating, fantastic. So, and those scholarships would come as tuition or what? Cover tuition
Yes.
or what?
So the university would, yes, those scholarship would reduce some of the tuition costs yearly.
Okay, all right. And how many people would be in your class? And would they would what's the national breakdown? Would that they be mainly Chinese? Yes.
So in my, because they would have divided it into they separate it in different classes because the batch is very huge. Because you have the Chinese, you have the other nationalities like the Africans, the people from the Middle East like Iran, Bangladeshis, Pakistan, so forth. So it's a huge medical class.
Okay.
And so they would have for certain lectures they would have segmented us into. It's just like in high school where they have fifth form and they have different classes. It's just like something like that. But the batch itself is very large.
Okay.
I know you can't see me, but you can hear me, can't you?
Yes, we're hearing you, Winnie.
Yes, I want at this point I want to bring Annette's comment. That's important. She says, "Go, my nephew." And Ruby and Forbes says, "Good afternoon." And Annette again says, "Me heart." Okay, and I have a question. My question is, were there classmates that spoke English that you interacted with?
Yes. So for the most part, to even gain admission to the MBBS program here, you must also have proficiency in English. So most of the internationals that are here, they would have either done IELTS or they would have their country is a native English speaking country. So yes, they're yeah.
And Rubian says, "Congratulations, Dr. Barnes."
All right. So you got these first class scholarships and you did research papers. At what time did the research papers come that you were praised for? At what stage of the training?
So yes, I would have started doing research in my later years of third year, more so in the fourth year of medical studies, because that's when I would have covered most of the basic medical sciences and I would have been more aware of how to go about doing composing a research hypothesis and stuff like that. So I would say fourth year of medical school, I would have engaged in research.
And those papers, just telling us what they were about.
So for the first paper, it was an effort between myself and some doctors, actually from University of the Hospital of the West Indies in Jamaica, as well as some other currently doctors who had studied in China as well. So for that first paper, it was about an analysis of the prevalence of obesity in Jamaica. And then the second paper was done here in China. It was about presbycusis, and I was researching about a drug known as MR409 on the effect of that on presbycusis in mice. So presbycusis is basically a fancy name for age-related hearing loss. So I was pretty much looking for a drug which could reduce age-related hearing loss.
Okay.
And at this point, Franklin, Denise, we'll give him all the love. "I love you, my nephew," says Denise Joseph.
Okay, right.
And congratulations again, Denise Joseph.
Yes.
All right. So I wanted to ask, getting about in China, what was getting about? Because I know that the medical program would be very tough. It would be tough if you were here at UWI. It would be very, very tough because you had the language issues and the cultural issues. But how was it like getting about in China? And did you face any levels of discrimination or yes?
Yeah, so actually getting around in China, at start it was very challenging as I as mentioned, because of the language barrier. But after time, I would have be able to be proficient enough to move around effectively. But in terms of discrimination, I wouldn't want to say that I experienced racism. It's more of Chinese people not being aware or open minded, or open to foreigners in general. So because they're so sheltered, because as you know, it's a communist country, so they're very much sheltered. So when they come across foreigners, it was like they're just not accustomed to it, so it'd be given off as if they're racist. But my experience for that is very much one, and is few. And then for the most part, for most Chinese people, they are very friendly. They'll be the first to talk to you. You want to get your WeChat is something like Chinese WhatsApp. They'll want to get your contact to try to talk to you and know more about you and stuff like that. So for the most part, I wouldn't say it's discrimination or racism. It's just for them not being aware of foreigners.
No, I'm not being used to foreigners and to check
Yeah.
the country. Right.
Mhm.
And so what were you able to do? How were you able to navigate, cope with all of that work, and what sort of habits did you develop, study habits or so on? You possibly had them all pinned down before, but how did you manage over those particular years with your own personal life and study life?
Well, I would have, for the most part, I had a lot of international friends here, which also kind of helped me keep me grounded. So we would form like mini study groups or mini sessions where we teach each other, or have that moment where we even not only for studies, but if we would if there are moments where we felt overwhelmed, we will say, okay, let us take a trip to visit a city, or let us take a trip to even just go to have a dinner or something like that. So for the most part, what kept me going is having a, this small family around me, which
Mhm.
be able to keep, and we basically kept each other.
Okay, that's great.
I have one question, Franklin, and I would have to ask that. Has AI helped you in any way?
Very interesting question. I Most persons, I would say, are against AI, but I believe in this day and age, it's very useful actually, and I would say that it's useful. Well, you can make it useful in a good way, but most persons would want to use it in a bad way. But for I would want to even comment that even here in China, for the government, AI or artificial intelligence is a mandatory course that is offered to Chinese students in high school. So they all learn about AI. So, so you can even look on that and see how useful AI can be in this day and age.
AI is a mandatory course in high schools for Chinese.
I,
Yes.
I could not
Interesting.
allow you to leave
Yes.
without asking that, because this is what you wouldn't know. AI is my friend.
Mhm.
So I would have to ask, because I know the important role that
Mhm.
AI plays in the
Yes.
world. And it's like anything else, is how you use artificial intelligence. Yes?
So thanks, Willie. Winnie, we are seeing you again. You are back with us. I'm so glad
Yes.
for that. Yes.
Okay.
So Dr. Barnes, you were selected the valedictorian. How did that selection come about? And when you were told, how did you feel about it? And then tell us your preparation for it. And it's speaking of Chinese there.
All right. So in terms of valedictory selection, similarly like most universities or schools, it will be based on, well, mainly based on your GPA for the respective academic years. So they look on that, as well as your extracurricular involvement also gives you some points. And couple months ago, before I was officially certified as a doctor, you would have to do an exam known as final MBBS, and that exam is a 2-day exam, and it comprises of the different specialties, or the four main core specialties. So you have to pass those exams in order to graduate or to be certified as a medical doctor. So they also look on those scores as well. So From my years in university, coming up, as I mentioned, I would have taught my batch for the 5 years consecutively. So I would have been already, I was aware that, I'm in a good position or a good chance to be the valedictorian, but it all comes down to my exam that I also did 2 months ago, and I would have scored the highest in those exams as well. So when the results came out for that exam, I was pretty much aware. I already knew that I was the valedictorian, and I would have shared that. I would have tried to kept the news away from my parents at the time. I didn't even tell them at the time because I wanted to surprise them when they came at the ceremony, that they would just see me on the stage. But then after times, I just said, okay, let me just tell them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. And how did they respond to that? And
Of course,
your parents came to the graduation. Is what you're saying?
So of course they were very much elated, and my mom and my brother managed to come to China, but my dad was watching the ceremony back in Jamaica.
Okay. Okay. And so the speech that you gave in Mandarin,
Mhm.
how did you prepare for that?
It was for me. It was no brainer per se, because I was learning as I said, I was learning the Mandarin language
Yeah.
from throughout my whole studies. So preparing the speech was pretty much like preparing a speech in English.
Yeah.
So it was more. But I must say though, before I say the speech, I was of course practicing, because in Chinese, we have 4 different tones. And if you pronounce
So
different words differently, they can have an entirely different meaning.
yes. Yes,
So
it's a tone language. I wanted to ask that. Sorry to interrupt. Continue. Yes.
yes. So for the most part, preparing for that moment, I was practicing so that I don't give an entirely different meaning while I'm on the stage.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. And so but the substance of what you were saying, what you said in that speech was what?
So pretty much, because the speech was very much longer, but it was concised or into short different snippets. But pretty much, I was introducing myself and telling the college where I'm from and the faculty, and pretty much I included some of my achievements that I managed to do during the years of medical studies, and I would have shared that I am from Jamaica, and I'm also interested in being pretty much a ambassador for both China and Jamaica healthcare relationship.
Mm. So tell me now, Dr. Barnes, how many people were in the class altogether?
Well, it's wow, it's a lot, because Chinese people is at least from Chinese people, maybe it's at least 300 or 400 students, because the Chinese are a lot.
Yes.
Naturally.
Yes. And then from the international side, you have at least maybe another 100 or 200 something. Yeah, so it's quite a
No,
lot of students.
no
Let's give
small
you
thing.
another. Let's give you another congratulations from Donald Davis. Congratulations, Orbin. So proud of you on your spectacular achievement.
Right, it's quite spectacular with that number.
Indeed.
So you are done. Are you done now with the course? You have passed it. You have been certified as a medical doctor. What's left? Are you done with the course now?
Yes, so I am officially a certified medical doctor. So now I'm just awaiting the hospital placement procedures for my medical internship back in Jamaica. And then that's where I will continue on and rise to the senior level to become a senior doctor.
Okay. So the placement, there's a connection with the Jamaican authorities to get you placed as an intern. Is that correct?
So yes, so the Jamaican medical system, or the Ministry of Health, has their application system, and it's done online. And you obviously have to meet certain requirements to be able to get an internship post. As of right now, there are some examination known as the CAMC, Caribbean Medical Licensing Exam, that is divided into 2 parts that you'd have to also pass to get an internship post. And also you have to be studied at for those who are abroad, it has to be an accredited university, medical university as well. So once you meet those two criteria, you can go ahead and apply. You choose your 3 hospital of your choice in the order that you would like to be placed. And then in the later upcoming weeks, then the ministry would give you one of those hospitals of your choice.
Okay. But they won't necessarily give you your first choice hospital.
Not necessarily. It also depends on the pool of applicants. How many persons also want to go to that hospital at the time at which you applied.
So you are looking forward to, and that should start for you by about when? You are looking forward to that by about when? Your internship would start.
So as of right now, the internship would have started for those for the UE, University of the West Indies students, and in terms of the later years for the IMG, I'm expecting about around the ending of July, August intake. I would more likely assume for us.
Okay, but you are abroad. If you're just joining this podcast, we are speaking with Dr. Orbin Barnes, who is still in China. He has topped his class of several hundred. He got 5 first-class scholarships over the years of his study. He was a valedictorian. He was the only Jamaican at the time when he started in that medical school. There are other Jamaicans now in Jingzhou, and he's preparing to come home. And he's a Monroe old boy, and he's from Negril. Is it Negril that you're originally from, Dr. Barnes?
Yes, I'm originally from Negril.
Okay, and your family.
Hanover, yes.
So tell us now, how are you looking to practice in Jamaica, to the internship and then to practice? How is that? What's going through your mind with all of that phase of your career?
Yeah, it's a bit nerve-wracking because at this point in time, you're a medical doctor now, so you have no added responsibilities. I am no longer a medical student because while as a medical student you will be very much more supervised by your seniors and your preceptors, but now that you are a certified medical doctor, that would have showed you that you're competent enough to do things or handle things independently. But at the same time, of course, you will have your seniors and supervisors that you can go to and ask questions, because at the same time, you will never know everything. So it's a bit of a nerve-wracking process or a nerve-wracking time. However, for me, in my final year of medical school, I would have managed to do some rotations back in Jamaica. So I am pretty much more accustomed to the Jamaican system. So for me right now, it's not very much of going to be a difficult transition process, because I'm used to the healthcare system back in Jamaica.
And one of the things
before you go on, Franklin, this comment, I am not going to massacre the name. There's congratulations, ranges at the end. Yes, and there was congrats, Orbin, for also receiving the Governor General's award recently. That, I think, should be said. And then you have congrats, Orbin. You have worked hard and smart. So grateful for you. A proud mom. Stay humble and always remember our God first.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks. So you got the Governor General's award in the present iteration, Dr. Barnes?
So I received, when I was back in Jamaica in 2025, I would have received the Governor General Achievement Award that year.
Oh,
yes,
2025.
last year, yes.
Last year.
Yes.
Yes. And just let me ask, and there's not anything called private medicine in China, am I correct?
Private medicine, like private practice.
Private practice.
Yes. Yeah, there are private practices here in China. Yeah, they do have private medicine here.
So do they push in medical school the service to the public. I know that in the early days that they used to do a lot of that, and people were, I don't know if you heard about the barefoot doctors and all of that, going back years now. But do they push at any sort of theology of medical practice?
I recall in early years of school, we had a course known as medical philosophy. And that was a course that was done online as well. So that's where we learned a lot about the history of medicine and also the history of medical intervention in China as well. So during those years, actually, that course was very much a blur at the time for me, but I recall learning so much about the history of medicine and involvement in China at that time. So I do recall that they do private medicine, but it's something that is not common actually here, but I know they do it.
Okay. All right. So before you go now, just tell us what your feelings, what's your outlook on life. I heard that your mom said you should remember God and so on. Are you a faith man? Are you a man of faith, or you know about faith?
Of course. So I'm a man of faith, of course, because without God, of course, this wouldn't be possible. So so moving on, this is of course is a humbling time and a humbling experience. I would have never imagined that this whole this process would have been very much viral on the social media, but of course I'm very thankful for the support, and this is a testament to those even young Jamaicans who are opting to study abroad, that there are opportunities for you to study abroad, and if I am able to do that, then so can you. So yeah, it's a very humbling time, and I'm grateful.
Right. And for me, the last question, I don't know if Winnie had anything else, but for me, how was your valedictory address received?
Yes. So it was received well locally. I realized in Jamaica it's very much all over the media, and while I was in China, for the most of the leaders and the Chinese students, they were very much, I would say, emotional, and they're very, even some of the Chinese are even surprised that a foreigner knows the language this really well. So it was received very much. The receive was very well, and yeah, I was very grateful.
Okay.
I
Dr.
just want
Barnes,
to I just want to say my own congratulations, and I wish you well in all that you do. And I know that God will continue to strengthen you and keep you safe and well.
Thank you, Ms. Brown.
You're welcome.
all right. Well, Dr. Brian Barnes, thank you. We look out for you. We know that you're going to do very well. You're reminding me of a young doctor I interviewed many years ago after he did brilliantly at med school. But I won't tell you because I don't want to put any additional weight on your shoulders, because you have a lot of weight there already. Now that so many people are hearing how well you did. So congratulations again to you and to your family who supported you, and to your school. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
luck.
you for having me, Mr. Franklin.
Thank you. You're most welcome. It's my pleasure. Okay. Now, for those who, Joshua, are you there? For those who weren't, I just got a message, but because I'm using different devices this week, I can't take the messages while I'm on now. But I just saw a little piece of one saying, "What a brilliant and humble young man." But I'm going to ask Joshua if he could just play the first part, and just as he starts doing the speaking in Mandarin, we cut it there. But just Joshua, could you play that intro again by Yardman International of Dr. Barnes? For those
Another
who joined
Jamaican
us
is making the nation proud on the world stage. Dr. Orbin Barnes, originally from McKnight, has graduated as the valedictorian of the class of 2026 at Jinzhou Medical University in China. Barnes began studying medicine in 2020 during the pandemic and went on to build an outstanding academic record. He earned 5 first-class scholarships, 1 second-class scholarship, published 2 medical research papers, won a National Undergraduate Research Award in China, and was named the most outstanding performer in his clinical exit examinations. A former Monroe College student, Dr. Barnes says he hopes to return home and serve Jamaica, with plans to specialize in either obstetrics and gynecology or emergency medicine. Here's a moment Jamaicans can be proud of: Dr. Orbin Barnes delivering his valedictory speech as the top graduate of his class in China.
All right, thank you, Joshua, thank you. We didn't even explore the fact that he was number one in his clinical exit exam, but we know that he aced all of those exams as well. Brilliant young man and a man of good character, I was told by his present principal at Monroe, Dr. Mark Smith. Now, we're going to make
before you go, Dennis Joseph says, thank everyone. So that's it.
Thank you, Dennis Joseph. Now, we are turning to another issue altogether about business. Welcome now to Leopold Steele Williams. He's a businessman, well known in Centon, all over Centon. He runs a Seacrest Hotel there. He runs a car company. He has some other businesses. And the years gone by, Steele Williams, Leopold Williams, was a top salesman for leading insurance companies, Life of Jamaica and the whole lot of them, and did a lot of training and so forth. But here's why I brought on Mr. Williams. Because Leopold Williams is a man who has been encouraging people to go into business. And I want to ask him, we want to welcome him and begin by asking him, Mr. Williams, why do you feel so strongly about business and Jamaicans getting into business? Are you hearing us, Mr. Williams?
You're muted, Mr. Williams. Please unmute. Please unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we can hear you now. Yeah.
All right. Yes. Good afternoon, son. Good afternoon to you, lady, beautiful lady, and your panel.
Good afternoon.
And before I go any further, I just want to say the picture. I'm not as handsome as the picture you have on your screen. That is the picture of the picture of the husband of the finance minister. So I'm not that
I'm sorry. We are sorry, Joshua. Don't bring that again. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm very sorry about that, Mr. Williams.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So you're.
That's a picture of you, especially we saw that you recently. That's a picture of you. Good.
Yes.
And apologies to Mr. Williams, the other Mr. Williams. Yes. Okay.
Well, go ahead.
Yes, I was asking you, why are you so strong about people going into business?
Well,
why don't we just corner a little job and sit down there and do your best at it? And
you would have heard some of what I said on Thursday evening while I spoke at Mr. Warmington's function.
Sorry, let me just give viewers and listeners a quick background to that. Neville Warmington, a former police officer, I think he was ranked as superintendent. When he was retiring, he decided to start a business. It's called WISE, Warmville Investigation. It's called WISE, and he celebrated 20 years. And last week, he had a function. And Mr. Leopold Williams was a guest speaker, and he came down strongly, encouraging people to go into business and congratulating Mr. Warmington. Yes, sir. Over to you.
You know, I worked, as you mentioned before, I worked many years in the life insurance industry. And you know, even the success rate and failure rate in that business is very high, because only 10% of life insurance men make it past the first year. Just to tell you how difficult is it. And I went on to dominate all the companies I worked for. As a matter of fact, nobody in the history of Life of Jamaica outperformed it. And so, well, I didn't. But even doing all of that, somewhere all along the line, I was not comfortable. I maybe was a high-speed employee in Jamaica at the time. Maybe I'm only high-speed Jamaican, because when you top a company like Life of Jamaica, you have to earn a lot of money to do that, right?
Yeah.
So but I still wanted to all my life I wanted, because I realized growing up in Brownstown, I realized that it's the people who have business
those that dominate the town. They make all the rules, right? Because the truth is they, so I always want to be in business. And it wasn't easy, even all that I did in the company, I got a lot of fight. It was always a war to survive, because there's always people who think that, you shouldn't be there. You understand?
Oh, you mean while you were topping the sales? Because I know that.
That's where the problem comes. Because there are some guys in the company who went to Harvard and Oxford, and I was getting more pay than them, and some of them wasn't too comfortable with that. You understand? You understand? So I mean, now we're in Jamaica where the same situation in another way is hitting us. Because when I walk down the streets, I'm coming from Brownstown, all of the businesses are being taken over by Chinese and Indians.
Yes.
Not that I have anything, those are my good friends, but then we have to be careful.
It's something you can't miss.
No,
I was just talking about ordinary shop, supermarkets, where there's science involved in it.
These are the people who have to employ indigenous people, the employment. These people don't pay no benefits. Mm-hmm. So recently there were a lot of concerns about people retiring without pension, which I am also concerned about that, right? Because when a man retires at age 60, 65, 70, and he has no pension, it's because life mankind is faced with two problems. Either you die too soon or you live too long, and if you live to see 100 without a pension, and you don't have family support. With government is saying they're concerned with the employment rate at under 2.5 per household. That will even get greater. But you might have one child who's not able to help you. And in these days of hard times, people not giving out what they used to be. Charity is not as what it used to be. So I am concerned that sooner or later, all our indigenous people are going to have to be working for foreigners. And these people don't really have no interest here. Because I can tell you some research shows some years ago that what the Chinese used to do, they come to Jamaica, they enjoy the tax concession.
5 years.
The 5 years, and then they put another family member for the other 5 years or so, or 10. And as soon as they earn enough money, they migrated to Canada. And they go up in the I experienced that. They're in Markham, up in the up class society of Canada, and they do another 10 years and get a pension. And they live happily thereafter. And then we know in Jamaica now, all our people who have businesses now are giving it up. They're selling it out to the Chinese. Sometimes not only the business, they sell property.
Yeah.
So sooner or later, we won't have those property either, So I'm saying that I'm encouraging more people. A lot of people are scared of going into business, right? For many, many reasons, right? People are scared, but they shouldn't be, because the truth is, in 10 years, you can gather what you gather from your own business, but you work for man in a lifetime. In just in 10 years.
Yeah, but there, before you go to that part of it, but there are a lot of pitfalls about which people are aware.
I can tell you some of them, right?
Please.
I will deal with some stats, right? Because it is said that the lifespan of a small business in Jamaica is 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? That's the lifespan. So, I mean, that don't sound encouraging, right?
No.
And they said 20% of small business in the first year, right? Fail by year 5, by year 10 is 6, by year 5 is 50%, and by 10 years is 65% fail. So those statistics is not saying anything.
Yeah, so in 10 years of setting up business, 6 of those 10 businesses fail.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's okay. So those stats are not saying. I mean, when
not encouraging for some people, because you never. But what causes them to fail?
Right.
I mean, I know you're encouraging us to go positive, but we want to look also what causes those businesses to fail. What's the primary thing?
Right. Well, you know, some of the problem is that, we have undercapitalization. People go into business without enough money, right? So as soon as the business starts to have a little, and everything in a life have a little shake. You have a little shaking. You understand? So if you don't have enough capital in the business, then you're going to find yourself falling off, right? So you need to make sure that your business is capitalized properly. Another thing is,
before you go to the next thing, Mr. Williams, if you don't have that capital and no
Right.
one will lend you, then you will go under, won't you?
That's what I'm saying. But I mean, sometimes people are not prepared to get a loan, right? Because if you don't know how to negotiate a loan, so you have to sometimes. What happened in Jamaica? We have this Anansi mentality where we're not prepared to pay for anything. We want everything. And you can know it's a thing with Jamaica. The government must do everything. They don't see themselves as doing anything to help themselves, right? So it's the same attitude people takes to business. What they're doing, they're going a business and they don't prepare themselves. You don't do a cash flow problem. Because if you go to the bank, I can share a personal example. When I started my first company, I didn't have all the money to start. I went into with the bank manager and he said to me, you know, the company, the business that you're going is highly capital insensitive. So the bank demands a high percentage of what you're going to need. I said to the bank manager that, boy, I don't think I have all that money, right? Then after trying to convince him, he gave me the name of his accountant and say I must go and get a cash flow and come back and see him. When I got the amount that from him, the man, what he was going to charge me to do the cash flow, I know the fellow was his personal assistant, and I went in there and I asked him for a copy of one that was done before, and he must crack out the name of the person and give me a copy. I took it. I went home for about 6 hours in the night and go through it and prepare what I was planning to do with the company and bring it back.
Because you didn't have the money to pay for the cash flow.
$1,800 in 1986 was a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. And you don't have money already, that's why you're going to the bank.
Right. So I mean, apparently it was maybe the bank manager's friend. You know it go in Jamaica. And I wasn't prepared to pay that. So I asked my friend to give me a copy of one that was done already. He gave me, because of somebody I know very well. And I go on through it and do it myself. About 3 o'clock in the morning, I finished. And when I went back to the man, he said, really, you can do this? And I said, yeah, man, I can do better, but I'm very conservative. And he gave me the money. That was the start of Sailor Motors Company Limited. He gave me in those days without any security. Right? And that's why I started the company. Because you must prepare to put 2% of what you're going to invest in preparing for the business. So people don't prepare for business. They just get a $5 million redundancy and take it and throw it in business. That's not how you're going in business. First of all, you must also do some research. I mean, you ever see a Kentucky? Anybody who open a Kentucky place and it ever fail? You ever see a Kentucky? You ever see one fail yet? Never. Why? Because these people do years of research to see where to put this position.
But that's a big brand already, man. That brand going to pull from people.
Don't take it for big brand. If it's not at the right place, it's fail. It will
fail.
Location is very important. And that is the thing you should look. You don't open certain business, certain place, because if you don't have certain foot traffic, you're not going to do well. If a certain amount of people not passing through at a regular interval, then it's going to fail, because it depends on, people not going to travel from somewhere else to come and do business with you. So certain business require, and that's why some people, certain places demand certain levels of rent, because the demand is high. People know that business will do well. So
you have capital, research.
Yeah, and poor financial management. A lot of people, you heard I said something, and I'm dead serious about that. Most Jamaican people take mixed sales to profit. They don't know the difference between sales and profit. So you find a man start a business and the business is doing very well, and you go in there, you can hardly get served because it packed. A few months after, a few years after you go in there, you notice not many people in the place, and you ask what happened, right? And when you look around, you see nothing is on the shelf, or business. What happened? The man sales start to get, and he take out the money and buy a Benz.
Yes.
right?
Indeed.
Right? When the business cannot afford it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be careful, because you know the cheapest capital in business is the one that is in there.
Yeah.
The one that is in the business, that's the one you're supposed to reinvest in the business, because that one is cheaper. If you go to the bank, you're going to have to go pay the bank, because the bank not out there for the face. They want to make money for their shareholders, like, you know, yeah, they want to make money. Mr. Leach and all the others want to make. If you notice these days, frankly, when we were growing up, we didn't hear, you know, bank announced they're doing well these days, how much they make for the quarter and the balance sheet. You notice that?
Yes,
If
yes,
they
of
make
course.
billions on the balance sheet, they're not doing well. So that's what they
Yeah.
want. They want to make.
Yeah.
So you have to plow in the capital what you make in the business, because down the road you can maybe buy. I'm not knocking Mercedes Benz, you know, because I have 3 of the finance one. You understand what I make? But I mean, I'm not knocking that. But there's a time for everything, you know, under the sun.
Our nice holidays and everything just starts. So
Yes.
just to summarize that, you think the hurdles that one ought to look out for and meet are enough capital, appropriate capital,
Right.
do your research, do your market research, know what the business location, etc., and financial management. Is there another one that you would list as significant? Or those are the principal ones you would say to somebody
Those
listening?
are the principal. Those are the principal. There are others, you know. There are
Yeah.
others.
Okay.
There are others.
All right.
You have to, you know, they're really, because you have to prepare to take risks, and you have to prepare to deal with the downfall, because regardless of what happens, business going to go through. Yeah, you're going to have a COVID. You're going to have storms. You're going to have all the variables that going to hit you, right?
But would you say it takes a particular type of mind? I mean, you mentioned risk takers there, but what about a guy who is in his job, is fairly comfortable in his job? Like you were very comfortable in your job at the time,
Right,
and all of that.
Yes.
And he says, boy, for me to come out of this business here now and to go take a chance, guess, not sure where the business is going to go, I'm sure if I can pay back the loans that I take. How would you talk to such a person?
But remember now, Franklin, there's no safe job anymore. That was 50 years ago and 40 years ago. No company is gonna keep you for more than an average 10 years, you know, because as your salary reach a certain level, they're going to find a university person who's more qualified than you and give them the job, make you teach them the job and get rid of you. That's what may happen, you know. That is the age we're in. Nobody when you retire until you reach a grade toll of 65 and retire. You're going to work for maybe 10 companies before you reach 60 these days, right? And that is where the problem comes in, because sometimes you get job at age 45 where you're not marketable, or 50 when you're not marketable, and then you have a dilemma, because sometimes you have mortgages paying or loans paying, and you can't get a job. And that time some people are forced to go into the business when they're not prepared for it. So it's better, I believe, and that's what I said, you'll never gain your true potential until you work for yourself. That's my experience. And I mean, I am a testament to what I didn't go to business school like most of the other people, right? But I learned it on the ground, right? And I started the second company, right? When I retired and decided no, that I'm gonna go out on my own, right? And I all the money that I had, quite a sum I had, because as I say, I was not only was I the best salesman the company ever see, I was one of the best managers they ever see. But I was responsible for building the Watchers branch, which I they honor me for those 2 years.
Yeah. Jamaica.
Right.
Yes, I'm aware of that. Well, Mr.
So
Williams,
I did as well as management. As a matter of fact, I think I did better in management now than I do in sales.
We're not finished. We're going to make Winnie take that comment, but we're not finished, Mr. Williams, because we're going to have to invite him back to give us about 15 minutes. Because we talked about the obstacles, and we want to talk about the suggestions that you have, which is sort of the flip side of that, of people turn into business. So we're going to come back to you for about 15 minutes next week, and we'll set out that. Winnie, you had a comment there that you wanted to take for us? You can see.
Yes, here it is. Congratulations, Dr. Orbin Barnes. You're one of the humblest young men I've ever seen. I'm so, so proud of you. God bless you, my nephew. That's Sonia Thomas,
All right, Mr. Thomas.
9421.
And he's really a humble man. Mr. Williams, we really want to thank you. As I said, we're going to pull you back because my colleague Desmond Richards last week was talking about people, why we keep telling all the people in the country to become professionals and to become this, that, and not go and take charge of business and create wealth for the country. Before we go, we'd like you to remind you of the fact that we're going to take that next week as well. Because we did say hold on, let me see what's going on here with me. Yes, we did say that I'm being shown that Brazil is on its way home, but we understand that losing to Norway.
It was inevitable. Yeah?
Remember, you can watch the podcast at any time by clicking the link or going to the Frankly Speaking YouTube channel for this or other episodes. Please like, share the program, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for joining us. Without you, there would be no show. Special thanks to Dr. Orbin Barnes, who was speaking with us from China, and to businessman Leopold Williams. We only got a little piece of him. Thanks to Winnie and Joshua Black, graphic artists. I'm Franklin McKnight.
The lights go up, the mics are lit. We're feeling that energy, that Sunday drive. Whether you're here while the clock is ticking or catching the replay, the plot is thickening. From the very first word to the final thought, you're the reason for every battle we fought. Oh, to our zealots, the ones who stay, and our viewers watching from miles away. If you live in the chat or on a late night screen, you're the heartbeat of the Frankly Speaking scene. We see you, we hear you, we appreciate the love. You're the spark we're always thinking of.